Hey guys, welcome back to the Unsavvy Budgeter. For those of you that are new to this channel, my name's Cindy and I take you along with me on my debt-free journey to pay off over $71,000 in credit card and student loan debt. So in this video, we're giving a budget update for our month of April, and we weren't that great this month. We actually overspent on quite a few categories, but not all hope is lost. We still have some strategies to try to correct ourselves, so stay tuned for that. All right, so we're gonna go over our expense tracker first. It's pretty lengthy on all the expenses that we had for the month of April so far, so I'm not going to go over everything, but I just wanted to highlight a few things and kind of summarize what we've been spending on. So we have our usual bills that happen in the beginning of the month with HOA and mortgage that you see is deducted. And I've been continuing the side hustle, so been selling on Mercari and continuing to sell on Facebook Marketplace, and I'll give you guys the totals of how much I've made so far on the next tab. But nothing too exciting. When it came to overspending in categories, we definitely overspent in eating out. So you'll see that we have eating out here, and you'll see food and groceries quite a bit further down, but this was already a lot of transactions for just April 1st. I also did a student loan payment of $42.43. That's just my usual minimum payment that we have. I also made sure to do my donation for safety kits for the AAPI community, and that was $50. So I'm trying to set aside a little bit of money here and there for donations and charity, and hopefully I can keep it up. Then I have reimbursements on the 2nd for HSA of $450, which cancels out all of the therapy sessions that I had to pay for the month of March. And we had a nice little side hustle money here of $400. And this month was pretty heavy in business expenses. A lot of it was me trying some things out. Because I've been selling on Mercari, I've been trying to do a lot of research and look into what's selling really well on Mercari and what is giving me a pretty good net profit. I decided to try purchasing some things to resell and to see how I did. One of those things that I definitely tried to purchase and resell was perfume. I would try to purchase perfume at a cheaper price and then try to sell it for a higher price on Mercari just to kind of see what my margins are. And so far, I think that was a trial that helped me decide that I don't want to try and resell perfume in the future because I don't think it was enough of a profit margin for me. Then, as you can see, we had the remaining credit card payments for debt payoff, which we celebrated in my previous video. Also, quite a bit of gas expenses because we did a lot more driving this month. Some of it was for beach cleanup, some of it was for just us trying to get out a little bit more. We also went and picked up our wine from our wine subscription, so that was a little bit of a ways, and we made some time to go home and see my parents because I haven't seen them for a while. That wasn't anything that we really budgeted and planned for, so we definitely overspent in the category of transportation. Food, supplies, pet care. This is something we also overspent on. I usually only set aside $160 every month, and that's barely enough to cover for the pet insurance that I pay quarterly. So I tell you guys that the $160 for pet care is more like a sinking fund that I use to pay for pet insurance, but I had to buy more dog food this month, so that's where you see we overspent and we had an expense of $51.96 there. Then we have my personal spend money of $150, more side hustles, more gift categories here for birthdays, me just purchasing birthday gifts for the upcoming months. So end of this month, next month, we have a lot of birthdays and for our friends and family coming up that we tried to take care of ahead of time. We're not that great at budgeting for gifts, but we're hoping that we can start being better at creating sinking funds for these going forward. Then we have a reconcile amount for $5.57. After trying to balance our budget and figure out how much we've been spending, we couldn't figure out why we were off $5.57. So that's where we have this line item to kind of account for that. This is where you'll see more eating out, more spending money. And this was only like really all in the first 2 weeks of April. So we were pretty bad. And that's where we felt a little bit guilty and maybe we overindulged a bit because we finished paying off the credit card debt. But we really want to make sure that we're not going to get back in debt. So that's why we've been pushing the side hustles a lot. Going over everything else, this is where you're going to see my final credit card payment for number 6, where I paid off that last bit of debt, and my minimum payment for my student loans of $127. And because we traveled during this time of 4/9, this is where you'll see a lot of eating out, groceries and things like that. And that's for a little trip that we made, overnight trip to go pick up our wine. And we decided to celebrate a little bit because we finished paying off credit card debt. So even though we overspent in these categories and we still logged it under the food category, we weren't drastically over budget because we ended up using my hubby's personal spend money. So every month he has that little savings that he has for personal spend, and whatever he doesn't spend, we roll over into the next month. So he had quite a bit of money from personal spend that rolled over, and we used that money to cover a lot of the, vacation expenses that we had for that overnight stay. So I appreciate my hubby saving his personal spend to really treat me out for an overnight trip. I even decided on the 18th, after looking at our budget, we figured that with the money we're trying to save and put aside for paying Uncle Sam for taxes, we figured that we still had enough money left over to pay a little bit towards one of my student loans. So we decided to pay $1,015.70 towards student loan number 1, which is the one that I've been ready to get rid of, which is my Sallie Mae student loan. So that is a good chunk of what I had left for Sallie Mae, and that kind of leaves me with a little bit over $400 for Sallie Mae. So I can't wait to pay that off. And yeah, so everything you see here is just everything that we have already accounted for and gone through. Things in gray have not yet happened, but we're expecting them to take place soon. So it's just the last few days of the month where we're going to have expenses come in. All right, so we're going to move on to our next tab, which shows our beautiful pie chart and our bar graph. And this is just really covering all of our spending that we did, and it breaks it down into the categories. But first, I want to go over just the income sources. So for paychecks, so far, as of today, we've had $10,731.45 come in for our normal paychecks from work. When it came to side hustles, this was eBay, Mercari, Facebook Marketplace, Ibotta, Fetch. So all that together, we had $2,029.46. We have our reimbursements of $592.56. That came from HSA reimbursement, stipend, fitness, which is a lot of what came from my work stipends that I get monthly now. We didn't have anything for other, and there was no contributions for Buy Me a Coffee. So in total, our income for this month as of today is $13,353.47. Here is our categories, and it's showing you the comparison of what we budgeted for each category and what we've actually spent as of today. So for our debt payoff, we've budgeted $5,240.62, and this is where we actually overspent. We ended up paying more towards debt payoff than we expected. We paid $5,952.63. Household, a little bit over $2,000, and that's exactly how much we spent. This really doesn't change much. 401k and HSA, we had budgeted for a little close to $1,200 because we're expecting that my 401k deductions were going to take place this month. Even though I signed up, it actually hasn't taken effect into my paychecks yet, so we're still waiting for that to take effect. The actual spending there was only $978, and we ended up being under budget by $200. Food, which I told you guys we did bad on, $350 that we budgeted for, close to $600 in actual spending. So we actually overspent by $209.03. Other expenses, $66.42, and this was overspent quite a bit, $516.94. So we were over budget by $450.52, and other accounts for a lot of the business expenses that I mentioned in the previous tab. Personal spend, I didn't do great there. $335 that we budgeted for, $406 that we actually spent. So we're over budget by $71.59. So as you can see, it's lots of red for this month so far. Healthcare, $300. That's how much I actually spent, and that's for the 2 therapy sessions that I've had so far this month. $160 budgeted for pet care. That is my sinking fund, so I still set aside $160 for a sinking fund. And I told you guys that we spent on dog food this month, so that's where you're seeing that we overspent by $51.96. Savings is the same. What we budgeted for is what we set aside, so no change there. Utilities is $470.35, and this is one category that we actually did well on. We actually only spent $177.34. Our electricity bill ended up being a lot less than what we expected. This month was California Energy Savings Month, so Edison actually was able to give us money back, and that really helped with our utilities for this month. So here we're under budget by $293. For transportation, we were over budget there by $73.04. A lot of it was for filling up on gas because we did a lot more driving this month to pick up our wine, like I mentioned, and seeing my parents. And gifts, we never budget for it, but we would like to. And this is where we overspent by $57.31. Subscriptions stayed the same, $19.98. So no change there. And we added this line item for reconciling since we can't figure out why we're off by $5.57. So that's where we put that we were over budget. For this month, we're over budget by $221.77. For our debt paid off, what we budgeted for, we actually spent more than. So we spent $712.01 over budget, but this is where that turned out to be a good thing. Next, we have our amount left from our income. So $2,737.48. That's money that we're going to be setting aside for those early expenses that we expect for that first week of the month of May. where we're not going to have our first May paycheck come in yet. So that's accounting for our household expenses like HOA and mortgage. So we always set aside a little bit of money at the end of the month for those expenses. I'm not really going to go over in detail this pie chart, but it's pretty self-explanatory. We're still really happy with the actual spending that you're seeing here, with debt payoff still over 50% at $5,952.63. So that was really great with the credit card payoffs and setting aside money for making that extra payment on the student loans already, even though we're still saving for taxes. And everything else looks to be not too bad. We overspent in categories that we obviously didn't want to, but hopefully it all balances out with the side hustle money that we got. Next, you see our bar graph that shows just a different visual on how we did with what we budgeted for and actual spending. Any red bars that's over the blue bars, obviously that's not great, but overall it's not looking too bad, and that big red bar for debt payoff is still a happy sight. Next, we're going to go over the debt payoff tab. So I don't really have to talk about my credit card debt again because it's already done and paid off for the month of April. So this is the last time I'm really going to have to talk about it. But as you can see, for March, I had that little bit left. In April, I was able to pay it off entirely. I paid off $4,767.50 in April for the credit cards to wipe that out. And now we're moving on to student loans. So for student loans for the month of April, I was able to make that payment on Sallie Mae, which is my student loan number 1. So that leaves me with $458.88 for student loan number 1. For number 2, I wasn't able to make any payments there since we're only tackling student loan number 1 for now. So we're still staying the same at $1,575.59. Student loan number 3 is staying the same, $34,506.08. These are the federal student loans, so there's no interest accruing since it's still in that forbearance period. So as of today, our total student loan debt is $36,540.55, and I was able to pay off $1,134.75. My total debt for April is $36,547.90. For the month of April, the total debt that I've paid off is $5,902.25. And lastly, the total paid off debt since I started my debt-free journey back in late December, so till now, we have paid off a total of $34,568.13. So that's all we have for today's video. I hope that you guys enjoyed our April budget update. Obviously, more red than we'd like to see, but that just motivated me and my husband to step up the side hustle to make sure that we can balance out what we overspent and hopefully make a little bit more so that we can continue making a bigger dent in the student loan debt, as well as making sure that we are still on time for paying off our federal taxes. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you like to see more content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel and click that subscription button, as well as that notification bell, so that you can stay tuned for future videos. So let me know in the comments if you guys are also in the red like me for your month of April. And if you're not, you can tell me in the comments some soothing comments about how it's okay to be over budget every once in a while, but I'm hoping that, again, the side hustles will save me once again for this month. So thank you guys for watching. I hope to catch you guys in the next video.